Welcome back to the Johnny Gets Cash channel and to the 6th part of my Daihatsu Fourtrak restoration series. Last time you saw me refit the engine and gearbox into the recently refurbished chassis. In this episode I'm going to be making a start on the rusty body of the Fourtrak. Okay guys, here it is, the body that has been removed from the chassis, which you can see just here. For the meantime, what I've been doing is I've had this body mounted on this pallet with wheels just so I can move it around the workshop easily enough. That isn't how I intended it to stay forever. The reason this is a bit of a problem, and this is what I'm going to be addressing first, where these sills are so rusty on this Fourtrak, where it's been resting on this pallet, they've just completely collapsed, as you can see, which really isn't good news. However, it isn't in the world because I will be working on all of this, but I can't fix anything while there is weight bearing on that knackered sill. So what I need to do is rig up a system so that the body is supported on its body mount locations underneath, so there's no undue load or stress anywhere it shouldn't be. So before I can do too much more, I need to sort out a way of supporting this body and hopefully keeping it movable as it is now on the pallet without warping or flexing anything that shouldn't be warped or flexed. So first things first, let's crack on with that. Okay then, so what you can see here is a bolt-on, bolt-off metal subframe that I've just made. So the idea of this is the body is supported on the body mount areas and into this metal frame. So that means I'll be able to put the rolling pallet back underneath. The body will rest on that pallet via this subframe, not on these sills. Now that's good news because I can work on these sills without any undue pressure or warpage to the body. All of the weight of this body will be managed through the body mount positions and onto that rolling pallet. And when I'm done with the up top repairs, what I'll do is roll this over to the lift, and then I'll be able to lift the body and this subframe off the rolling pallet without having to unbolt anything. This can go up in the air and I can work on the underside of the Fourtrak. Then eventually when it's all done, I can unbolt this subframe, get rid of it completely and drop this body back onto the chassis. So that is what you'll see next time. Right then, that is the bolt-on, bolt-off metal subframe made, and that's now resting on its roller pallet. As I said before, the idea of that is so I can lift the body off that pallet and the metal subframe will stay with the body, the roller pallet will stay where it is. That is done. However, in putting this body onto that roller pallet again, we've experienced a little bit of an issue. Can't say I'm too surprised because it is an old Fourtrak, but you can see how rusty the floor is, and it's probably a lot worse than you thought. Well, what has happened is, because that subframe I've made is holding the truck up on its body mounts, essentially, because the back of this truck is so rusty, it's trying to push the floor up beyond where it should be. So in essence, the sides of this truck are not connected to the rear floor pan. So that's interesting. So what I'm going to have to do when I refabricate that, to make sure everything's in the right place, I'm going to have to work out the specs and the measurements of where everything should be, and make sure that that floor pan is in the right place in relation to the inner rear arches just there, and obviously the floor pan to inner panels here. Quite a lot of work, but as I say, this is an old Fourtrak, so I'm not completely surprised. My attitude with these things is kind of the attitude I try and carry through life. Nothing's impossible. Nothing's too much work. It's really a case of how much sweat you're willing to exchange for the end goal. And as I said before, I'm determined to make this truck the best of its kind. So yes, it's incredibly rusty and we've got issues, but mark my words, we will get it sorted and it will see the road once again. So just want to keep you updated on that front. While it's on its metal subframe, I can show you some of the issues I'm up against. You can see how rotten the arches are, and certainly at the back, nothing too unusual. It's an old Fourtrak, that's kind of par for the course, but where that metal subframe is bolted into the body mounts, it's just kind of put a little bit of stress on some weak areas, and that's happened. It's pushed the floor up in essence. Not the best news, but it's once again not totally unexpected. So the job now, what I want to do next is strip off the body kit that you see, take off things like the bonnet and possibly headlights, basically strip the body down a little bit more, get an idea of where we are, check out what I'm going to have to cut out, what I'm going to have to fabricate, etc, etc. So I'm just going to put you on time lapse. I'm going to remove the body kit and you'll see what lurks under there. But here's a prediction. I've worked on loads and loads of Fourtraks. Behind these rear overarches will be an absolute state. Once they come off, there will be rust fest under there, I guarantee it. But that's just a little prediction. Maybe I'm wrong, hopefully I am wrong, but looking at the rest of the truck, I don't think I will be. It's going to be super janky under there. But let's talk more action. Let's get you on time lapse. I'll strip all this off and then we'll catch up afterwards. Okay, so there's the body kit removed. You also saw me take the headlights and the front apron off. The reason I've done that is because this front panel, I was aware it was quite rusty. This side especially, pretty bad. It shows what kind of life this truck has had. You've got these sort of headlight adjusters on the bottom of the headlights. This one is clearly rusted out, and a piece of bracketry has been put in its place. Never mind the adjuster, just plug it on in there, she'll be all right. That's what we're dealing with. So, doesn't look too bad down this side with the body kit off. As predicted, the front really isn't too bad. The back, a little bit more crusty. However, if I go to the offside, that is where it really gets interesting. The front, which isn't normally too bad, we have a whopping great hole in it, so that will be fun to repair. That is the back of that front panel I've just showed you. Not the end of the world, can deal with all of that. Coming down. Oh, here's the rear arch. Right. Okay. Would you believe me if I said that isn't the worst I've ever seen? However, it's definitely top 3. I will definitely carry on. I'll still sort it. I mean, I suppose most sane people would walk away from it. But as I said before, nothing's impossible. But this is what we're up against. This is what was hiding under that fat arch. So it's just completely gone. It's totally dead. And that is why when I put the truck body on this subframe that I built, the floor wanted to push through, because as you can see here, the arch and the floor are not attached to the outside of the body. So that is what I've got to fix. Yeah, it looks a bit dramatic because it is, I suppose, but never fear, we'll get it sorted. So I think that's probably going to be for another episode, but here is the strip down. This is what I'm working with in terms of the body shell. I'm still pretty positive about it. I know I can get this one to come back and it will be one of the better examples out there, fingers crossed. But hopefully you've enjoyed seeing the process of getting the body on its subframe and the inspection of what I've got to deal with. To be honest, I did know this was going to be a bit of a stinker. I knew ever since I bought this truck that it was going to be a bit of a rotter underneath. But as I said before in the very first episode, this is a very rare spec truck, so I wanted to save it. I'm just going to dig a little bit deeper than maybe I originally thought, but you'll see that in an upcoming episode. So please, if you do want to see that and you're not already, please hit the subscribe button to make sure you get notified when that video does eventually come out. Until next time, guys, cheers.